guys, this is Kat. I am going to talk to you about Operation Joshua 9 in Greece and the strategic plan behind it. So Operation Joshua is an outreach project that I've been involved with the last couple years. It is in its 9th year of operation, and it happens every summer. And the best way to describe what it is basically a Bible distribution program, specifically for OJ9, which is coming up this July. The vision kind of gives you a clear picture of what it's about. The intention is to distribute New Testaments from July 6th through the 14th. So 130,000 homes in 530 villages surrounding the region of Peoria, Greece, which is kind of up north. The mission that goes along with OJ9 is to basically make the glory of God known to people in Greece and bring them to a commitment of following Christ, since they have no access to Bibles in their own language. We are hoping to bring them to that place where they can do that by just giving them the gospel message and putting that in their hands. But what is the need for Operation Joshua? Why do we do this enormous project every year for the last going on 10 years now? The reason is that Greece is predominantly Greek Orthodox, and Greek Orthodoxy does not emphasize salvation through the belief of Christ's sacrifice on the cross or the importance of a personal relationship with Him. They believe that being a good person and adhering to the traditions and sacraments of the church is how you get yourself to heaven. During my research and writing the paper, according to Operation World, 0.4% of the population is considered evangelical Christian. The population in Greece is approximately 11 million, so believers in that country are less than 500,000 in the entire nation, and that's a staggering statistic. There were some other stats that I found that were pretty impressive that I wanted to share with you guys. The fact that there's only 75 missionaries in Greece, or less than that, as the numbers fluctuate and people leave the mission field, as it is quite the difficult mission field. It's considered to be the neediest one in Europe. There are very few evangelical churches in operation. The majority of them that do operate are not operating legally, as it's incredibly difficult to get through the red tape in order to have a legal permit. And then the last statistic that was quite interesting was it wasn't until 1988 that there was the first Greek modern translation presented to the nation. They obviously had the Bible written in Koine Greek, which is what the apostles wrote it in. However, that is not a language that's spoken anymore and not understood. So even though it started off, a lot of the gospel started off there, there wasn't anything in the latter years for the modern Greek to read and understand. As you can imagine, a project the magnitude of Operation Joshua would have several logistic type things to consider before you attempted to pull something off like that. A SWOT analysis was done for the project, and I came up with several different ways and things that can bring awareness to being successful with it. We can start off with the strengths. The project itself has a lot of vision. The leader has a lot of vision. He is wanting to reach the entire nation with the New Testament, and that's an awesome thing. It takes a lot of vision to make that happen. Along with that, there's a lot of enthusiastic volunteers that get behind that vision, wanting to be a part of it and help out and help pull it off to the best of their abilities. And then finally, there's a lot of qualified staff that are involved with it, most of them the missionaries that work on the project year-round. However, on the other hand, weaknesses of the operation, and this is all internal stuff, the staff can get burnt out. This is year 9, and so there can be a lot of repetition as far as the people involved, and that can be difficult to do year after year. It is quite the taxing project, not just for the week of outreach, but for the entire year that you're preparing for it. Because of Greece not being a very efficient nation, a lot of things can come up as far as disorganization. You can be a great planner, however, things can just go wrong, and that's a definite weakness that we need to deal with constantly. Oftentimes, because of the volunteers that we get, we just have to put people in positions that aren't necessarily qualified to do so, and so the management can be inept. There can be a lot of inexperience and people just not knowing what they're doing since it's their first year. And then the last thing that can cause a lot of issues is also just kind of a spirit of non-committal. Um, there are a lot of people that get real excited about it in the beginning of the year, and you have a lot of commitment on paper, but when push comes to shove, they don't show up, they don't put in an application or participate or do what they need to be doing in order to be involved, and so we just don't have the staff at the end of the day to pull it off. There's a lot of opportunities within OJ. Donors get real excited and they give a lot of money towards the operation. There can be a lot of positive advertising and positive publicity from past years success. However, that comes with a bunch of threats as far as sometimes the funding is lacking. The accommodations can come with their sets of issues since we're staying at a different location every year. The authorities and the local community can give us a lot of pushback as far as not wanting us there or thinking that we're a cult and wanting to run the operation out of their town. Sometimes the weather gets to be an issue, especially as people are living in tents during the outreach. And then finally, you can just get a lot of IT issues, internet just running slow, and just difficulties in the logistics office day-to-day stuff. Operation Joshua is incredibly costly. It costs a grand total of about 450,000 euros, which is about $475,000. The reason for that is because we're just trying to do a lot of things in a short amount of time, and so this table kind of presents the breakdown of how much it costs. The Bible packs are obviously the most expensive cost, as you can see in the pictures. Those are the pallets that they come in. I'm sitting on the top of quite the high stack of pallets. That's the roof right over my head that we are having to pay a lot of money for total. So that's a total cost of 362,000. That's about 2.5 euros to $75 per packet. That includes a Bible, an audio CD, some tracks, and just some information on how a person that receives the packet can contact other Christians. And then the rest of the majority of the costs come from accommodations, housing, and feeding the 400 plus missionaries that come in for the week's distribution. Those involved in the project short-term wise and just during the week of the operation have no idea how long and how many hours it takes to actually pull this off, but the 1 week in July when the outreach happens, it actually takes about a year of planning for the event to be pulled off successfully. And so when the previous year's event is done in July or end of July, by August they're fully wrapping up that project and kind of just consolidating the data that they've gathered and set aside, and then the missionaries that were involved go on holiday. But then when they come back in September, they all sit down to plan and brainstorm what the year's theme is going to be and which area they're going to do outreach to. By October, they should have the dates and the area selected, and so at that point they're just raising awareness and updating Facebook and the website and letting all of the people that have been previously involved know when and what is happening the upcoming year. Then in the wintertime, early spring, November through January, a lot of logistics are just being ironed out, trying to find a campsite, figuring out how many Bibles are needed, how many participants are going to be needed, and just the millions of logistical details that come up with this project. By February, the Bibles are ordered, and by March, the maps need to be finished and completed as far as what the participants are using to go out. April, the applications are coming in full force, and so the team is pretty furiously updating applicants and processing applications in order to know who is going to be involved in the project in July. By May, all the literature is ordered, and there's just a lot of hype and increased involvement kind of pushed out there so that people can get involved. And by June, as you can see in the picture, a lot of Bible packing is happening. All of the Bibles need to come out of those pallets and packed with all of the other material in a gift bag that we're going to pass out. And so that's about a week's operation with anywhere between 75 to 100 people packing to make that happen. And then July is when the actual outreach happens. So obviously a project like OJ would take a lot of people. I have done a rough diagram of the heads of the different departments for OJ presented here for you. And so at the very top you have the director. He is the one that has come up with the vision and the mission of what OJ is all about, and is also very heavily involved in the major decisions. Under him you have the project manager, who is the person that resides in the office and deals with all logistic issues. The MC, who's the face of the operation and also keeps everybody on track and makes sure that participants know where they're going, when they're going, and they're also responsible for making announcements, such as announcing to the participants on a daily basis how many Bibles we've distributed, how many kilometers we've driven, and data like that. And then you have the grounds manager, who takes care of any issues that might come up with the campsite regarding the campers and accommodations. Under the project manager you have the assistant manager. The two of them kind of run the whole operation, and beneath them you have the maps crew. They obviously deal with all the maps. Dispatch, they are the ones that handle phone calls during the day when all of the participants are out on distribution. You have the finance team. They are very meticulous in their work and make sure that everything is recorded accurately, especially for tax purposes. And then the admin team that kind of bounces between the different departments, and they just are at extra hands and brains to input data and just really deal with any office needs. Under the grounds manager you have the kitchen manager, and they handle all of the food issues, the ordering of food, the menu making, and kind of making sure that everything's running well in the kitchen to feed all of those participants. We do make our food from scratch. And then under that is the head cook and the assistants, who do a lot of chopping, cleaning, peeling, cutting, boiling, and everything that goes along with cooking. And then under the grounds manager, he does have a crew of guys that help mostly put up tents, but then they deal with any other issues that might come up grounds related. I threw some pictures up for y'all just to kind of get an idea of what it looks like, but in the top left corner that would be a picture of the dispatch team. If you can see closely, they are looking at a map, kind of trying to figure out where different vehicles are during the day, and then also helping them get to their locations or taking them to other vehicles in order to help out with passing out the Bibles. And then in the bottom left corner we're doing the Bible packing process, and that station I believe is the one where they're putting a tract in the Bible. And then in the middle right hand corner you see kids passing out the packets that are completed down the road. And so Mike, the guy standing, would drive down the road and slowly, and the kids would jump out and put a Bible at each one of the doors or gates in order to get them to every home. So that was all I had for y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. It is quite the project. It is exhausting, but also so very rewarding to know that 130,000 or 150,000 homes every year are getting the Bible in their hands, and they would have no other way to do that unless we were there doing it. So that's all I have for you. Take care. Thanks.